From the center of the galaxy, this is ForceCenter show about Star Wars, pop culture, and the ultimate adventure, life itself. I'm Ken Napzok.
I'm Joseph Scrimshaw.
And we're here for a Star Wars question. A little bit of a different broadcast week if you're watching us as these episodes roll out. But if you're 2 years in the future, it was a great week. All dreams were made true this week in Joseph and I's lives. But with Comic-Con going, and I got a stand-up show down there. Busy, kind of short week. And Joseph, you've got a film out on the road, and that's also making this a bit of a ForceCenter short week for you as well. So we're happy to be here. But how's it going out there?
It's going great. We had a wonderful premiere in Los Angeles. That is very lucky to have Ken there. It was fantastic to see him in the audience. And then we had a lovely screening in San Diego. It was great to be in San Diego. I don't know if I've ever been there not at Comic-Con. I was just like, look at how open and breezy these streets are.
Yep.
So beautiful. So beautiful. And then as we are recording this, we're recording on a Monday, releasing it on Monday. Tuesday night, if you're in the LA area, we have our next screening at the Laemmle Glendale. So if you like horror and easy parking, come see us in Glendale at 7 p.m. We're going to have a great Q&A moderated by Taffeta Darling, and I'll be there, and some of the actors and the cinematographer. All sorts of fun stuff going on with that. And I also I wanted to do the ForceCenter Dead Media Report. So far, 2 screenings on the road show, and I'm 2 for 2 for ForceCenter friends showing up, which is so great. Our friends Brady and Eli, who've been coming out to a lot of your comedy shows and comedy shows that I've been on, so it's been great to get to know them better. And our friend down in San Diego, Kenny, was at the San Diego screening, had great chats with all of them. And I really, really appreciate seeing ForceCenter friends. It's nice to see folks that we've met in the past, but I'm also hoping the roadshow goes a little bit to the south, to the East Coast, to parts of the Midwest, that I get to meet some folks from the ForceCenter community that I haven't met before.
It's great to see Brady and Eli as always. They're just wonderful, supportive people out here in SoCal. Kenny, I ran into Kenny in Anaheim. Kenny had a tradition where he'd see us at San Diego Comic-Con, and we'd get a picture. And then he'd also hold the picture from the year before and the picture from the year before. So it's great stuff. And I was there Saturday, the Brain Dead Studios screening in Los Angeles. And a lot of fun. Not only, as I said in the post, the film is thematically rich and just, meta is not the right word. It's meta, sure, but it's just, you're inside a DVD in the form of a film, and it's not just an ode to physical media. I love you have a great theme about people not being able to maybe move forward in their lives. And it was hilarious because before the screening, you hand out a little booklet. If you go see this film, you get a booklet with little activities. You can draw a picture. But one of the questions is what do you feel is the best year in cinema? And I wrote 1999, and that's kind of your film's answer too.
It is, because it's I want to see if anybody else writes down different answers, because 99 is just like whatever kind of genre or film you like, from big change everything blockbusters like Phantom Menace and The Matrix to like just darlings of indie, or like forgotten gems that didn't do well on release like Iron Giant. Like, it's just kind of endless. Office Space, it goes on and on. So
yeah,
I'm hoping somebody's it's 2013 or whatever.
Well, yeah, there's a great moment in the film where one of your leads, the older uncle character, just kind of has some realizations. I even talked about my podcast this morning, a Monday morning show, just like there's no markers of time moving forward in a way. You don't have a house, you don't have kids, you don't have a marriage, or whatever it might be, and his character has kind of that kind of moment, and I don't want to give too much of the plot away, but it was great stuff, is what I'm saying, and it's a lot of fun. And if you're thinking out there, if you see the dates where Joseph might be taking Dead Media, absolutely go, because it's not just going to a movie. You might not all have what Brain Dead Studios has, which is a cafe and an outside foosball area. That might be unique. But a lot of fun. It's an event. It was truly a gathering of fans. So good job. Thank you.
Thank you for being there. And I definitely had moments working on it where, nobody listening to this podcast would be even remotely surprised. Like, there are scary parts, there are funny parts, but the stuff that motivated me is the themes, the ideas. What are the characters really wrestling with? And there were times I was working on it and stressed out, and was like, Ken will understand the themes.
Very good.
We've talked about it enough for years. At least Ken will understand the themes, and lots of other people have as well. But in my moments of darkness, I was like, Ken will get it.
I did, and it wasn't just about the old guy not being able to move forward. It was about everyone in their lives having to move forward. So there, yeah, funny, yeah, some really funny moments too. And I get scared easily, and I was okay. There's scary stuff, but I was like, okay, I know that Joseph made this film, and that's not a real lurcher. So, please, if you're all out there, go see it. Highly recommend not just the film, but the experience as well. Any other? And the theater. Yeah, we should talk. We're talking Life Adventures here before we answer a question from Michael McCarcel. But the theater, Braindead Studios in LA, had some great Star Wars stuff, and you had talked about the Shadows of the Empire shirt. But there's also some great Star Wars art up at the top of the stairwell.
Yes.
That was just
insanely
wonderful.
good. Yeah. So Braindead Studios started out as like a kind of a mixture, like punk rock clothing brand, like a really real indie, and then they were like the former organization involved in that theater was up to no good, and they're like, we'll take it over and we will apply this whole fun indie punk rock pop culture aesthetic to everything. So they've got like their designer clothing, and one of them is just this like massive shirt that's just the whole thing. It's all print of Zizor and all the art from Shadows of the Empire. It's hilarious.
Would have been both my nightmare and honor to wear that shirt. A lot of good stuff. Before we dive in, as always, to the question, we want to remind you that the podcast is brought to you by our shop on Fourth Wall. Check out our merch store. Pick up a t-shirt, coaster, pint glass, something to support the show and represent ForceCenter out in the galaxy, especially if you're going to go see a screening of Dead Media. And maybe you can get something out there if you order now, order today. But also looking ahead to Star Wars Celebration Los Angeles. Love to see you out there in your ForceCenter gear. We do have a Patreon goal. In effect, I forgot to check the numbers, but we had set a goal try to reach 417 by the dropping of the physical media version of the Mandalorian and Grogu. And we're kind of, the announcement is there. It's not dropped yet. So we're still pushing.
Yeah, so I think we'll kick that back. I think we're at 405 paid patrons. I just checked, and we would love to get to 417 by the time of the release of the physical media for the Mandalorian and Grogu. Like we say every episode, we know it's hard times for folks, and if you can spare $2, that's the building block, and that helps us keep going and growing. So check it out, patreon.com/ForceCenter.
Indeed. Let's get to our Star Wars question of the day. I put a call out in Patreon, fresh one, and I will say, we knew we just don't have as much time this week, and maybe we wanted some more direct questions. And often we encourage our ForceCenter community to not just send us a question, but maybe some context behind the question. That's your own journey. And we joke about our ForceCenter friends' essays that they submit. This time I was like, please no essays. And everyone stepped up. So there's actually more questions than this week. We're gonna return to some of them there. So this first one comes from Michael McCarcel, and as always now, the old man has to put on his glasses. It is getting worse. I can't go to any restaurant and order anything. Michael McCarcel says, "Hey, ForceCenter friends! Now that The Mandalorian Grogu is coming to physical media, this feels like a good time to ask: would you rather a direct movie sequel happen or a season 4 of the show?" So this can take us to a lot of spots, Joseph, including that we're getting that physical media of the Mandalorian and Grogu. There's some business aspects to this question. I think we can talk about the business, but also put aside the business and just dream. Where do you start with this?
Yeah, I started with doing like a meditation through the light side of the Force to try to acknowledge that the dark side of thinking about the business aspect is natural, but to let it go. Because I admit my first reaction to this is all of the business stuff of like, well, would a movie succeed? Does Disney Plus need a TV series? Which fans are going to be angry and how vocal are they going to be, and blah, 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 blah. All vital stuff, but it's not where I want to start because I haven't really thought about it truly, truly, truly for myself. And I think at the end of the day, I think I would like another movie. I love the TV show. I wouldn't be even remotely upset if, hey, while we're recording this, they announce a TV show. I will shout hooray. But I think there's something about, maybe it's old school for me, that the sort of 6 seasons in a movie that they've launched onto this larger palette. And as we've talked about, Mandalorian looks great, particularly season 3. Like, there's some like, yeah, the
Mm,
problem of making the movie look cinematic is like there's massive, very cool, very good spaceship battles in season 3 of the Mandalorian.
right.
But the film is going to be even bigger. It always is. And I think Favreau has a sort of a process set up. I understand a lot of it was just set up shot in his kind of home base personal
Mm, hmm.
studio. He still has a bunch of props there because that's where they've always been. There wasn't like,
Right.
I'm going to take them somewhere and then I'm going to bring them back to my personal studio to be a little museum. It's like, no, we filmed this model here. It's never been anywhere else.
Right.
I'm already slipping into business behind the scenes things. I think a part of it is I really enjoyed the film being focused on Mando and Grogu in where are they at in their evolution? What is at stake? And I think to me, I think what was at stake was a lot of is Din going to let go and let Grogu grow up? Is Din going to let Grogu have his own relationship to violence?
Hmm.
And as we've discussed, I think those things are explicitly there, maybe a light touch. But I think at the end of the day, when I think about what I would want, I think a television show would have more like, ooh, there are all these moving parts, and we could figure out what's going on with Bo-Katan, and do Din and Grogu get involved in the battle against Thrawn, and it all starts to become like this broader picture, which would be cool. But in my heart of hearts, I just want the next film to be Grogu's next step. You know,
Mm,
uh,
mm.
Grogu faces his trauma, or Grogu decides to set out on his own, or
Yeah.
whatever that next step is in Favreau's mind, because these characters feel like they're not quite complete. They're taking steps on their journey. I just kind of want that one big next step for Grogu in particular.
I think I land in a similar spot with you right there. And yeah, little business thing. Yeah, my reaction to, it's almost like we're not saying that Michael asked this question that's depressing us, but I go into the business too of like, I at this point, I think neither option is possible. I don't know. Like, and to me, it's not about the movie, what it did. Yeah, it did not do as good as I personally hoped. But it made its money back. It didn't do bad, and it's going to continue to grow. This is going to get some legs on streaming without a doubt, which is also, again, part of the business. And there's larger conversations about, these big IPs, and they've been around a while. That's maybe another business conversation of like, I saw a post of, younger generations who've just grown up with this stuff. It's wallpaper to them. Doesn't mean it's not going to do well, or some people don't jump on board. But in general, if you were 10 in 2015 and you're 20 now, like you've never known really Star Wars being gone. So there's that kind of aspect. The TV thing, obviously, we're streaming. We don't know what the hell it is, but it ain't going anywhere.
No, it can't.
It's really not. So I think there's still room for it. I've been taking a deep dive into Apple TV programming in a way I've never done before. Just finished all 5 seasons for All Mankind. I'm watching the Abe Lincoln Assassination Show, which is 2 years old. Finally catching up to that. Silo. Taffeta's getting me started on Silo. And you all know me. I don't watch a lot of things, but so that streaming show TV is still a thing. So, anyways, that aside, Joseph, I'm trying to go with what would I want in a perfect world where both these things are possible. And I go to a movie too because I think the Mandalorian Grogu on the big screen worked on me in a way of like, I really want this big feel, this adventure, and I want it centered on them. There's a world in which I'd want a Mandalorian and Grogu 2, Electric Boogaloo, and also another season of some other show where a lot of the strands or a lot of the characters or a lot of the big things working in, especially season 3 of Mando, but Bo-Katan, Mandalore, all those kind of things. Where Sabine falls into that, the Ahsoka season 2. I'm curious about what that does for the larger picture. I want some of that stuff to go there, but I really enjoyed following Mandalorian and Grogu. And you're right, if there's some big next steps for Grogu, including the thing that you and I have been wanting for a while, which is deal with your trauma. Go back and who took you? Who did Kelleran Beck give you? That's big screen stuff for me. That I would love to sit down and enjoy, just in a 2-hour journey, just them again.
And Favreau might kind of continue with his light touch approach, and I think really trying to bring back what was very standard when we were growing up of it's another adventure. Like,
Yes.
until Daniel Craig came along in a more modern era, there was never a question of like, will James Bond take his next step on his evolution?
Right.
We have really dived deep into Indiana Jones, but I think those films are ultimately a light touch on his evolution. He
Yep.
learns things and he does grow, but he learns a similar lesson about like, oh, the real treasure is people, the real treasure is my relationship, and it changes and it evolves and it's spoken of differently. But that's generally the journey he's always on, is to remember
Mm-hmm.
that truth.
Mm-hmm.
That just used to be so standard, and it feels like Favreau is maybe almost, I don't know if it's an intellectual choice or just a gut choice of I'm telling the story I want to tell, maybe responding to some of the it's good to have balance. And we've gone so far in the other direction where with the connectedness of MCU, the connectedness of some of the Star Wars television shows, that this feels like something either intellectual or instinctual of I'm going to go the
Mm-hmm.
other way.
I really agree that I got excited when you said Indiana Jones because teacher, pick on me. I was going to say Indiana Jones too. Like exactly what it was. There is a larger Indiana Jones canon, and you can have fun getting lost in it. In Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, that's kind of the only direct reference to Young Indiana Jones Chronicles. Talks
Mm-hmm.
about his time with Pancho Villa, and I get all excited. Like I love that episode. Like there's that video game coming out, but we don't live. At least I don't. We don't live in an Indiana Jones canon world. It's
Mm-hmm.
there, but it's treated a little differently, and I love that. And by the way, I think some of the Star Wars stuff you're talking about, the Star Wars connectivity, MCU's, I'd say a different beast, but
Mm-hmm.
a lot of that's just on our fans and how we view Star Wars, and also curiosity of where it is on the timeline, what's it mean. Like that's fun, so I'm not taking that away from anyone because I do that myself. But I just
Mm-hmm.
like the freedom to kind of roam around the Indiana Jones world on adventures, and with Mandalorian Grogu starting with a Bond like opening sequence
Mm-hmm.
or an Indiana Jones like opening sequence. I don't want to. I'm less interested in their connection with the larger Star Wars story at this point. There's things that happened, the Hutt cartel taking out all those kind of like. There's big things.
Mm-hmm.
The New Republic just might have got a big, literally big recruit with Rada. There's things to deal with, but you know what I mean. Like it was their adventure, and I'd love another one that is
Mm-hmm.
just them doing their thing in this part of the Star Wars galaxy.
Yeah, me too. I really like that. I'd be happy to see a TV show because there are a lot of characters that the armor. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
The fate. How's it going to rebuild Mandalore?
Mm-hmm.
How are things with Bo-Katan? Uh, that famous song from a 1940s musical. How are things with Bo-Katan? Um, I
Is
can't. This
she
is
grumpy and sitting in the window? Yeah.
one leg up on the chair. Um, you were talking about.
Yeah.
I think we've had the light side of we dream of
Yeah.
more big, exciting adventures with Mandalorian and Grogu, and maybe a step forward for them both. But you brought up the shadow of the dark side of the business of what if nothing, um,
Mm.
and I think that's interesting because the streaming world is in confusion. I think they must announce another live action show. I don't think a lot of people who are subscribed for Star Wars will keep subscribing forever if they don't announce some new live action.
Hmm.
Um, the film did make its money back, and I think it would be a different conversation if He-Man crushed and it was still in the theaters, or
Right.
if Minions and Monsters crushed. Like,
Right.
but I can't even think of all the other examples. Not a lot. I think when Spider-Man comes out, that will do well. But other than that,
Hmm.
it's been an extremely rocky summer for
Hmm.
legacy IP. And so it
Hmm.
isn't just about Mandalorian and Grogu. It's about the state of filmmaking
Yeah.
that people are excited to go to events. Uh, I think if every bleeping interview and press release and TikTok in the world right now wasn't Christopher Nolan explaining to you how special the IMAX and
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
needing to see it in IMAX and fighting to get them tickets to see it in IMAX. He made it an event. If it was just
Hmm.
like, here's a beautiful film of Odyssey, it would do well because he's Christopher Nolan, but he has eventized it
Mm-hmm.
because of the
Mm-hmm.
way he filmed it. And obviously Backrooms and Obsession were an event because they're these surprise hits growing out of YouTube and really changing the paradigm of it used to be if you put your film on YouTube, it was like, you tried to release it traditionally and you gave up. And instead it's these young people who put it on YouTube and then blew up.
Yeah.
So I think it would be such a different conversation if it was 2018 again and Aquaman, for God's sake, Aquaman, blew it out of the water in December of 2018 in the same year that Solo struggled in May. That's a different conversation than Mando and Grogu, I think, did better than some of the other legacy sequels, So where does that leave it is my question for if you are running Disney and I think you have a responsibility to continue the story of these characters in some way because it's unresolved. I think you damage your relationship with fans if you're just like, thanks, John. Bye. These characters aren't resolved,
I really agree with that, and I know we know John has ideas for other stories. Of course, he is. He's a creator who's really protective of these characters. I'd be disappointed if he was like, "Yeah, I'm good," but the studio might have to. It's looking ahead to 2027. I think that's going to be a big year for them to kind of test. But I just also think I just really struck by this thing I was reading. I keep kind of referencing a couple weeks ago of just obsessions and back rooms. You're always going to have a little bit of that phenom kind of horror movie kind of thing come out and connect with people. That's not necessarily new, but there is this thought of like I said, it's an age, you've grown up with it. So, I miss Supergirl and I wanted to support it. Number one, big fan of what they did with Superman. I'm a big fan of Millie Alcock at her work with House of Dragon. So I was like, my life I haven't been able to, and I feel bad. So there's all the discourse around it, most of it not surprising. Gamergate still goes on, the culture war still goes on, and that movie's part of that too. But outside of that, it didn't do as well. That's like your grandpa's stuff, right? That we are at that point where there's that joke of I think it's an Onion, young girl out of touch with classmates thanks to dad forcing his music taste. I'm paraphrasing it, but we could be reaching that point, and that's why it's important for Star Wars to find young Jedi adventures and everything like that. You're always gonna have Star Wars fans too, by the way. This ain't going away.
No,
the Beatles have waned every now and then. They're not going away. Star Wars is that, but I wonder if we're gonna see if they're gonna kind of ride the wave the next couple of years and hope the Starfighter reignites it. I don't know. I'm maybe word salading. I'm just thinking a lot about what the younger generation thinks of Star Wars.
Yeah, no, and Supergirl was the other one I was trying to remember, and I did see it, and I thought it was fantastic. And it used to be, I think in Marvel's heyday, they felt like events because people were attached to the characters, attached to the soap opera aspect of, what's going to happen to the Vision, what's going to happen to Iron Man, who's going to fight who, and there's a difference between things just being connected and things being like, I am invested in what happens in these relationships. And but I obviously they're a big company and they're not going to do anything that doesn't make them money. But I do think that it is also a risk to simply not. We've figured out film and television distribution. Don't do it. The best way to make money, which is what they did with, all of the slate of, the pulling things before for tax credits of and there are politicians who have rattled the saber of this cannot continue. The model, you cannot be allowed to make money by, look at us, we didn't make something, or we made something and pulled it. But so that's why I say that I think whether a big corporation is going to agree with me, I think there is a little bit of a responsibility to, because you will start to lose or wound your audience if you don't. And I think that we'll see I'm so excited to see where Ahsoka season 2 goes for many reasons, but I'm really excited to see is this just this is the first phase of the battle against Thrawn, and tune in for Mando meets Ahsoka meets Boba Fett meets Ezra, big finale TV show or film, which was announced 3 years ago.
Supposed to be, Yeah, I agree that at this point you kind of have to go for it, especially with Grogu. I mean,
Hmm.
I can kind of imagine what might happen to the Mandalorian, Din Djarin. Like, he's going to pass at some point. He's going to go on adventures. He's going to be too old for this bleep. He's going to live that Star Wars life. I'd like to see it, but Grogu, we know, is set to go on for centuries potentially if the character lives his natural life. So, not only a lot of potential, but like, man, yeah, I want to see what happens to him. And what
Hmm.
happened to him in the past is something we want to explore too. So he's such a big character that you almost have. I don't know. It's kind of like you bite into that first Dorito. You know that whole bag's gonna go.
Hmm.
You've given me this Grogu story. The whole bag's got to go.
Yeah.
I need to go. I need to keep going.
How would you feel if they did announce another film and it was basically Old Man Din, and it was like you can still get
Yeah.
Pedro, and you can give him some makeup, right? And
Mm-hmm.
he's 70, 80 years old, and he's kind of retired, and
Mm.
Grogu is like, the defender. I'm not saying he's going to be the Mandalore, but like Grogu is so headed on that path of like, I will use my power to help people. Really want to avoid using my power for violence, and he's just like, I'm
Mm.
not getting involved in all these big fights.
Mm.
I live on Mandalore and I defend my people, and don't come here to mess with us.
Yeah.
Yeah. And maybe they're
Yeah.
separated and have to
I
get the band back together one more time. Not separated in terms of like they had a fight, but they're just like,
yeah.
Grogu's all grown up, and he's got, it's like me
Yeah.
and my dad. I'm all grown up, and I live in Los Angeles. I still love my dad.
Yeah.
We didn't break up. He lives in Minneapolis.
Yeah. A big time jump would be interesting to me. I think, it doesn't mean you don't one day get to experience the other things, but there'd be something about that. Old Man Din. Could Mangold come in and just direct some of that with Favreau?
That would be fantastic.
Do love Logan.
Fantastic.
Yeah, no, I'd be interested in that. And do you feel so? I'm in the spot where like I love season 3 of Mandalorian. I love that it pushes the story and Mando and Grogu's journey into other parts of the Star Wars story, right? Like we're big fans of Luke Skywalker, the concept of him showing up at the end of Mandalorian season 2. But am I on the right track? Are you in the ballpark of agreeing with me when I'm just like, I'm not worried about the Mandalorian and Grogu's connections to what's going on. I don't need them. I know they might pick up and join any kind of big fight, but I just like them out and about in the galaxy on their own.
Yeah, I like them doing their thing, and I think I do have questions about because of the path they're on. Because Din has been looking for something honorable, and it's chasing down ex-Imperials. So I mean, I don't need everything to be connected, but yeah, if it was Old Man Din suits up because the First Order is trying to attack Mandalore, and
Yeah.
but I'd also be happy if they're like, we went and started, a new Mandalorian colony on an abandoned planet, and we've got our own problems way out here, and we don't get involved in things unless we're asked for, kind of thing. I'd be thrilled with that too, because I am more interested in the characters than like it's the constant, going back to Clone Wars and Ahsoka of like, as soon as you put a powerful Force user in the mix, you're like, so Kylo Ren tried to kill Grogu, right? like
Right.
that.
Yeah, right.
And there's been a million memes about that, and it does invite those questions. But there's something about this story about where they're both at of like only honorable, only use violence when absolutely necessary. That is the journey they're on, and that they could have some interesting ramifications in the Thrawn War and in the First Order War and another conflict they haven't made up yet.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. I think we're both kind of in the same spot. And, if you want to tie it to bigger stuff in the future, we got to send Rey needs some knowledge on Jedi and Jedi Order, starting a Jedi Order again. So she goes to a little swampy planet, runs into this little kind of character that's messing about. And that character says, "Oh, Grogu, you see Grogu." And go from there.
Gorgeous.
Yeah. Gorgeous. There you go. Thank you, Mike, for that question. Any final thoughts, Joseph, on Mando, movie or show?
Yeah, I think my biggest opinion is I feel like it is important and vital to continue their story while Jon Favreau is still interested in telling the story. Movie would be my first pick, but I'd be happy with a television show.
Yep, that's the thing. To me, it's it's a can't lose situation if you were to choose between these two. I just leaning towards movie. Michael, thank you so much for the question. Thanks for being a longtime Force Center friend, supporting us. We appreciate that. More questions to come this week, and a lot more questions there on the Patreon post to pull from. And if you want to add some out there yourselves, folks, you could still do that. And you can also join in by becoming a supporter on Patreon at patreon.com/ForceCenter. You can find us on social media at Force Center Pod, Force Center Podcast on Facebook. We are still a podcast at heart, so check us out wherever you get your podcasts. And don't forget, on Sundays, we rebroadcast Databank Brawl, audio only, Merchville, Fourth Wall. And follow me at Ken Napzok. Again, if you're listening before Thursday, July 23rd, and you're in San Diego for Comic-Con, or you're just in San Diego, and you don't want to go to Comic-Con, 7 p.m., The Yellow Door comedy show, headlined by Jen Sturger, Mark Ellis, and I will be on it having some fun with all of you there. But Joseph, where can they follow you, and where is the journey taking you next? We got Glendale in a day or two, but where are you going now?
Yeah, after Glendale, we have a screening in Burbank at a great place called Killer Fitness that does film screenings as well as horror-themed exercise routines. So you can find us at Killer Fitness in Burbank. And then on Saturday, we're down in Santa Ana at the Frida Cinemas, where I will be tortured by the fact that they have 2 theaters, Ken, and my film will be playing at the same time as one of my all-time favorite films, Twin Peaks: Fire Walk with Me, down in the other theater. So like, I might sneak out of my own film to see some of Fire Walk with Me. And then cool. It's pretty cool. And then we're in Palm Springs, Oakland in the Bay Area, in Seattle, and that's about the next week of films. And then we're heading out to the East Coast. So anyway,
yeah,
tickets on all of that is antennareleasing.com/films/dead media. You can follow me, as always, at Joseph Scrimshaw everywhere. We have an Instagram account for Dead Media that we're really trying to build up. That's at Dead Media Movie. Thank you all for all the support and help over the years in the Force Center community here for this film.
Absolutely. Go see it. It's a lot of fun. And you'll get scared, you'll laugh, you'll think about your own life, and move forward is what you want to do. That's for Dead Media. This is Force Center. We'll see you all next time. Bye.